All right. What's this, dudes? What are we looking at?
I'm looking at I'm looking at Trump's face.
Wait, I
What
can
a
make
what
it
a what
bigger.
a
Yeah,
mugshot.
that's a good. Yeah, that's actually a good. yeah, I think
That's,
you're actually hard pressed to find yeah, like a intimidating pick like that
yeah,
from the
Dems wish
press.
that was his mugshot, right? Like the
Yeah,
Dems wish that was a mugshot.
that's actually crazy. Yeah, so I guess he'll be speaking at another conference. Yeah, the guys at Blockworks. Seems like
Yep.
they have some good events. And now, this is like obviously it doesn't get bigger than the U.S. president. So, yeah, I think this one. I was about to say it went a little under the radar, but no, it didn't. It has a lot of
Yeah, well,
likes, right? Like 6,000
well,
likes. So,
I think they pulled it out last minute too. Like it wasn't
yeah,
announced ahead of time. I think they just announced it yesterday. So
it was a
obviously,
surprise.
Damn.
yeah, obviously, always. I think overall, obviously, like all of this stuff is bullish, but like we were talking about a couple minutes ago, it's funny how like you see a little bit of a dip in the markets just because I think so many people have bet on like what this man has said in the past that everyone's kind of. I think they're pricing in that the announcement's probably nothing, and it's
Yeah,
not a
yeah.
big deal.
I think Blockworks learned that like there's never anything good that comes from pre-announcements with Trump. Like,
Yeah,
like it's always like a letdown. So they, I think they pulled a good move here.
yeah,
Just
agreed.
yep.
Agreed. PR person over at Blockworks, you get an A+ for today. So great job.
Yeah, for sure. GG's on them. Good job on them bagging this one. And the coverage of the crypto White House summit like 2 weeks ago. That was a good move as well.
Yeah, I mean, I
Um,
think the like to be fair, like the Digital Asset Summit, there's been a couple big announcements coming out of there, right? Like with I know we're going to talk about like the Athena thing here, but I think they announced that like right before the conference, and I think they had like a panel and some events surrounding it as well. So a couple of big events or big announcements rather coming out of the Digital Asset Summit.
Yeah,
yeah,
I know
I
they
don't
have
know.
Sailor there too. I just saw a pic of Michael
Okay.
Saylor looking kind of short. Apparently, he's short. I didn't know that until recently.
Yeah, what do you mean? He's
Oh
short
no.
Bitcoin now?
No,
Oh
no, like he's
no.
physically short.
his stature
Oh
his
no.
stature is short. He's the
Yeah,
Okay.
he's
he's the
not short. He's
hyperliquid.
not
He's
short.
the
Yeah.
hyperliquid whale. He's the hyperliquid whale.
Oh shit. Zach XBT confirmed it, right? No, we're just spreading FUD right now at this point. Um, all right, cool guys. We can start the show proper, I think. Um, just a fun way to start it off. Um, so yeah, guys, welcome back to the show. Welcome back, like speaking. Welcome back to the audience. If you've been here before, or maybe it's your first time. So yeah, we had a layer of research, decided to do a new show. It's Market Cap. This is episode number 3 already. It goes quick, and yeah, what we do is just cover market movements, recent events, trending narratives, and especially try to make sense of it a little bit if we can at all, if that's possible. So yeah, what to expect? We're doing this weekly show. We're doing it with members from our team. And we'll have on guests from time to time as well. We're live on X, we're live on YouTube, and we'll post it later on YouTube as well. So with us, we have Daniel, who's our lead researcher, and we got Kirk, who's our director of protocol services. And I'm Stefano, director of institutional services, and your host and moderator. Um, so we're going to kick off the show, but before that, I want to give a quick shout out to a partner of ours and ourselves a little bit as well, basically. Um, in 2 weeks from now, we'll have Southeast Asia Blockchain Week here in Bangkok. I'll be present. So the research will be present. We'll be moderating a panel on sexes versus dexes and what the latest is with that. If anyone's joining or attending, feel free to reach out, shoot us a message, and catch us at the event. So yeah, that's it for the for the household for the housekeeping. So yeah, this market cap episode number 3. Let's kick it off. Guys, we always cover like state of the market first. Um, I'll go ahead and pull up the graph, but yeah, feel free to start spilling the beans. Um,
Real quick, one more housekeeping item. I just want to say, March Madness starts today, Stefano. So I know people are here for crypto, but I hope you're watching some basketball today. Shout out to Duke Nation. Shout out to Duke Nation. Let's go. We're probably going to lose some followers because of this, because I know everybody likes to tank on Duke. But nonetheless, let's go, baby. I'm pumped. All right, let's resume the show.
No, you know what's interesting is I got multiple. Like, I don't even watch, or yeah. I used to watch a lot of basketball, but I never watched college basketball. But I got like multiple this year. I got multiple like notifications from random apps about March Madness, like Robinhood.
Did you really?
I got a notification from
Prediction markets,
Robinhood.
right?
Yeah, they have. Yeah.
exactly.
Twitter. They have their own bracket thing on X. Like, so I don't know what it is about this year that made all these apps lean into this, but it's interesting.
Yeah. Honestly, let's before we get into this, let's talk about that for a minute. So it's funny. I think it's like the poly market effect, right? We just saw Robinhood announce like their prediction market. I can't remember who they partnered with. Yeah. Shout out to them, by the way. That's obviously a big integration for them. Big unlock for Robinhood users. But anyway, yeah, I think that's what you're seeing, right? Is like so many people are trying to get into that space, and there's a lot of competition surrounding like prediction markets and gambling, etc. So yeah, I think you're seeing like the NCAA finally starting to lean into that as well, which is, we've come a long way. I'll just say that.
Basketball is actually like it's been holding up a significant amount of poly markets volume. Like they haven't crashed actually that much. Like they've obviously gone down after the election, but their sports betting is actually like really, they put a lot of effort like acquiring some like accounts on social media to like basically like plug poly market as like a like pivot it more towards like a sports betting app. So yeah, I think they have like a handle on how to play it.
I am shocked actually that Robinhood did not. Like, I wonder why Polymarket didn't get that.
I mean, I got it. Like, they're just too degen. Like their founder got like his door knocked in from the FBI. I mean, they're on shore. Like they're in New York, but yeah I guess it's like Kalshi was like they weren't even allowed to. They were like illegal until like several months ago, right? They got approved right before the election. So Kalshi, it's like a 0 to they played like the regulatory game, like waiting for all the approvals, kind of like Coinbase and Kraken, that approach. And I mean, we'll see how much volumes they can pull from this. Should be cool.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it will be massive if I had to bet. So yeah, I guess shout out to Kalshi, man. Maybe a candidate for winner of the week there.
Actually, that's not bad. Actually.
Oh shit!
I don't want to spoil it. Anyway, all right, let's talk the markets, man.
No, I mean it's interesting. I mean, look, I'm European, so like college basketball is not. We don't even know like who are the teams and stuff like that. But what I did know is that actually like college basketball is like a huge market for sports bettors, because there's way more edge to be had, things like that. So I think it's very interesting to like see this current development right now, right? Where we see like on-chain betting and college basketball sort of converging together.
Yep.
So
There's
yeah,
some
man.
exotic there's some exotic markets that have propped up too. Like I was looking at SX Network, SX Bet the other day,
Mm-hmm.
who's another betting app. And I think they had like sailing competitions, like sailing races on there now. You can bet on sailing races. Like, yeah, so come on.
Sailing.
Like we're gonna
I mean,
we're
that's the only way
onboarding
for it to
anything and
be
everything.
interesting. That's the only way
Yeah.
for it to be fun to watch.
Yeah, yeah. Underrated move. Underrated move there. I might have to get into it now.
I mean, it's a move with everything, I
Well, what's
think.
next, man? Look,
Um,
man, pretty soon you're going to have equestrian competitions on there. You know, you're going to have best in show, like dog shows on there. Like,
I
what
mean,
else?
horse racing is already like a betting market, but equestrian, okay, that's a new one.
Listen, equestrian. I mean, and don't forget the original crypto prediction market, right? The hamster races. Let's go, baby.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Shout
that was
out to the
crazy.
hamsters.
Yeah.
Guys, let's kick it off. Let's talk some market cap. Um,
Oh,
this
okay.
is what this performance of the week on the week. So, hey, actually, we're not looking too
Look,
bad.
BNB, yeah, BNB, outperforming once again. I mean, it was
Yep.
outperforming last week on the a down week, right? It was outperforming just by being up 2%. Now, yeah, almost up 10%. XRP, that's definitely interesting. It actually
Too bad Darius. Too bad
flipped
Darius couldn't make
ETH.
it. If
Yeah,
Darius was here, he could take his BNB victory lap. You know, he's got to be able to get his victory lap in. So we'll have to see what it looks like next week when he's back. Oh man, yeah,
yeah,
BNB
I,
like we talked about, that thesis is playing out exactly like we talked about the last couple of weeks, right?
yeah. I mean, it is. It was always supposed to act as, yeah, somewhat like an index. It's not an index, obviously, it's one thing, but it's supposed to move kind of like an index, and kind of just grind higher, and then like within any given year, like, yeah, just pick up a month. Maybe you're holding for 1 month or 4 months. It's like, which asset has the highest likelihood that you won't like lose 20% of the money. It's like, I think BNB is a very good one, maybe even the best. But yeah, the past couple of weeks, actually, I think it's more like CZ's back. He's like back in the game. Maybe that has something to do with this price action. So yeah, we covered some of the BNB developments. That was more so like last month, I think. But yeah, they're trying to kickstart things. Yeah, Binance Labs is getting active. They got like agent stuff on there now. We'll see how it
mm,
plays out. But yeah, so I think the actual like leaders, or CZ mostly, but yeah, it seems like the team's actually getting involved after a while of kind of like complacency. I think they weren't really trying to push BNB chain too much. I think now they got the, like, he's out of jail, like they got the green light. They're ready to go. So
Yeah, they've definitely got some tailwinds for sure, I would say. Yeah, I mean, I would expect BNB to do quite well in the coming months. Not financial advice, of course.
yeah,
What
I
do
mean, it's
nothing
actually
is.
Lindy. Yeah, yeah. BNB is like actually, like, from the EVM chains. It's like a very sustainable. I mean, like, look at the top L2 tokens. Like, they're not really doing very well.
Yeah,
Like ARB, OP,
yeah,
or OP. Like, so I
yep,
think BNB, like from the asset performance perspective, and then even from the ecosystem, right? It's like a, what's it, like the top three, top four, chain
yeah,
by TVL.
yeah.
It's
I mean,
always
we
been up there for like
yeah.
throughout the bear. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, there's been a lot of talk of like this like return to like these dinosaur coins that are like cash flow monsters and X, Y, and Z, right? But like people barely ever talk about BNB, right? And for like all the like the L2 coins or whatever you want to say, like I feel like BNB for most of the market, it's kind of got this like lendiness to it now, where
yeah,
like it's been around forever. Again, it's got
yeah.
relatively
It's
strong
diluted,
performance.
right? It's fully
Yeah,
diluted basically
yeah,
now, right? I
exactly,
think.
exactly. That's the biggest thing, probably, right? Like,
Yeah,
it's got to be
maybe.
close to fully diluted. Because if you think about like all these other L2s with all these insane unlocks, right? Even like kind of like the DAO angle is somewhat like in their favor, right? Where like some of these other L2s have these DAOs that are just like spending their tokens like egregiously, right, on things left and right. And you don't
Yeah,
have to worry about
they don't need to.
that as
Yeah,
much as
they
much.
have money.
Yeah,
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 exactly.
exactly.
Yeah,
So I
turn.
think
Yeah,
there's something
that's
to
a
be
good.
said there too. There is alignment there, right? Whereas like with like ArbDAO and optimism and stuff like that, I don't necessarily view that as like incentive alignment, right? Like
Right.
so it's a little bit of a different dynamic, and don't
Yeah,
even get me into some of the
Mantle
other ones.
too as well. That one's more obviously more underrated, but
Yeah.
they had some interesting things on Mantle. Obviously backed by a big exchange.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I guess yeah. Base has no token, and I think there's more
I,
separation
I, I was
maybe.
I was gonna ask, can Base at some point copy their play,
I don't
like
know.
having the sex?
I mean, I'm not sure like what the like how they structured it. Like I know, yeah. So I'm not sure how like Base is structured and relative to Coinbase, like what their exact relationship is. I mean, the team has said like over the months and years since it was first announced, like yeah, they've said some somewhat like conflicting things. So yeah, I actually have no idea.
Yeah.
Like
They've definitely
if there'll be a base token, or I have no
yeah.
clue to be honest.
Yeah. They've definitely they've definitely gone back and forth. I agree, 100%. I think like when they originally came out, like they were like explicitly like, no, like there's never
Yeah,
going to be a
I mean you
token.
have to, yeah, yeah.
And then
That's what they have to do. They have to say like,
yeah,
oh, we'll never do it. We'll never do it.
yeah,
Yeah,
for sure. And then but then I
back
think
in
they've
those
kind of
days.
like there's been various like subtle hints at it, over the past couple of years and months. I mean, there's a lot of builders on base actually that if you ask them, they almost guarantee that there will be a base token. I've talked to quite a few of them actually, so I don't know what to make of it, man. To be honest with you, I don't know that they need to, and I don't know if I want them to. Personally, like again, like just going back to like this, I guess the state of like the L2 tokens and the L1 tokens, like barely any of them do well, right? Like it's in my mind, like if I was looking at like in like investment from an investment standpoint, like that is not, those are not tokens that are on my radar. Like I don't want to play those games. Number one, I also don't understand like really like the value accrual. Like there's no value accrual to the token.
Right.
And you've got to have those like liquidity sinks, right? You got to have sinks that um, that kind of mitigate the sell pressure a little bit, and hardly any of these L2s and L1 coins have that. So the ones that do
Yeah.
are going to do well, right? Like you see hype, like hype. I mean, obviously it's suffering a little bit, but I think it will do well in the long run compared to like ARB and Optimism because there's liquidity sinks for it, right? There's utility for it. So anyway,
Yeah, and I mean Coinbase, unlike Bybit and Binance, and even like OKX, Gate, these other ones that have tokens as well. Like they already have the stock, right? They're already publicly traded. They have that mandate um, for stockholders, for their shareholders. Coinbase has fallen. Yeah, it's at like a 50 billion or $60 billion dollar market cap. Like so, that's actually like that's ambitious, but like if you're launching a token for a top chain, and then that's like within striking distance of what you could maybe hope to achieve. It's like a $60 billion uh, market cap, like best case scenario. Like yeah, you maybe that could be like a semi realistic goal. So I mean, like where's that money going to come from? Like you don't want to like create a reason for people to sell coin. I don't know. Maybe that's far fetched, but um, yeah.
Okay, not super bullish on this scenario then. Should we zoom in on Bitcoin a little bit? I know it's looking green here, but like actually, um,
Oh, trading
I
at
mean,
86 now. Okay.
huh?
Trading at 86 now.
It
there's
seems to be.
Oh no, that's a
there's
weekly. Oh no, yeah,
Let's
it
wait,
is. It
wait,
is.
wait.
Okay.
Let's pull up this one.
yeah.
Nice. Okay, so I guess yeah. Okay, I guess stocks must be Doing all right. Okay.
Yeah, I think you know, I don't know. There's a lot of rumors circulating, about, Trump's going to announce 0%, income tax, on U.S. based investments in crypto and Bitcoin included, obviously. But like, yeah, I don't know if that's driving it. I mean, there's a lot of like some of the FUD, I think you saw in the last week and a half has kind of flipped in Bitcoin's favor. Like, in the short term, obviously, like the hyperliquid thing, I think that hyperliquid whale like flipped long a couple days ago. Um, so there's no longer like this massive short. But we can talk about that in a little bit. But
For sure.
yeah, yeah, I mean, I think the Fed, with what they were, discussing the other day, actually, has something to do with it as well. I think a lot of people are viewing that as, some dovish stance by the Fed. Um,
Yes.
so yeah,
Semi
I mean,
dovish.
overall, yeah,
Yeah,
semi
it's
dovish,
not
yeah,
bad.
We're talking about the FOMC
yeah,
thing.
yeah. I mean, Daniel, what do you make of that? What do
Yeah,
you think
I
about the Fonzie
mean,
stuff?
it was like, I think it was like mostly a non-event. Yeah, if you read some of our newsletters in the past like 2 weeks, yeah, basically like exactly what Powell like said in his when he was speaking in the past few weeks prior to this FOMC is like exactly what he said at the press conference, right? So like, oh, well, taking a wait and see approach. Like, oh, he said that. He said he doesn't like tariffs. He thinks they're bad for growth, but he doesn't think that they're inflationary. Okay, he said that again. So yeah, I mean, what wasn't very surprising. I think it was more of a structural thing. Like they lowered the quantitative tightening by 80%. Um, so yeah, so I think that would be like the biggest. Yeah, it's mainly that. I think it's the 5 billion in that's the new redemption cap for treasuries. It's 5 billion down from like 20 or 25 billion. So I guess that was the biggest takeaway. Mm, I mean, I don't know how much momentum like people can get from that,
Yeah,
or crypto can get from that. Like, I don't think there's a big enough reason yet for crypto to start outperforming. I mean, I
yeah,
think the markets are like mostly aligned on like rate cuts. So they put out the new, yeah, all the people at the Federal Reserve, they put out the new dot plot. So they're saying like, okay, we're planning on cutting 2 times this year. Markets pricing that in too. They're saying like one cut in June and then one more towards the end of the year, like September or Q4. So they're kind of in alignment there. And I mean, yeah, so I think the next couple of meetings should be like mostly. I was gonna say mostly not eventful, but then like yeah, you have like tariffs and stuff, and it's unclear how long it takes for that to seep into the economy. If it seeps into the economy, like I don't know, maybe it doesn't. Maybe the tariffs are delayed, or they're just like repealed. I don't know. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, I generally think that
yeah, the dot plot
on
right
the
there.
tariff thing, yeah, on the tariff bit of it too. I generally think that like I personally think at least like probably hardly any of them will actually come to fruition. I think it's all a negotiation tactic. Um, I don't know if we'll necessarily see them. You know, that's my
Yeah,
opinion
I
anyway.
mean,
I mean,
well,
obviously, some countries, right? Like you're going to have some countries, but
yeah,
as far as like
we
taxing
have
our
seen
allies
them.
and stuff like that, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, it's actually funny. Like he's like Trump is actually the most aggressive towards the quote unquote allied countries. So yeah, it's like a complete 180. Like it's real recognized real. Like Trump likes, he likes Putin, he likes Xi Jinping. Like he doesn't like these like European, like, you know what I mean? Real recognized real. It's that kind of thing. So it's like complete
Believe in
opposite.
something, damn it. Believe in something.
Yeah, it's like a polar opposite from like not even just Biden, but like the past just like decades. Yeah, it's like a complete opposite. So yeah, that's always interesting to see. I mean, yeah, like you mentioned, I mean, some of the tariffs are definitely real. Like the China tariffs are definitely real.
Yeah. I agree there.
Um,
I agree.
Right, the ones on Mexico and Canada, yeah, he's flip flopped a lot. I don't really think he's gotten like that much to show for it yet, to be honest. Like I would want to see more like yeah, like automakers that were like operating in Mexico, like pledging to yeah, hire 10,000 people in the U.S., like stuff like that. So I mean, you saw some of that, but it wasn't like it wasn't directly from like those tariffs from Mexico, Canada, like mostly just energy and stuff like that, like some, and then China, you have like a lot of durable goods like electronics coming out of China. So yeah, those tariffs should be yeah, there's no negotiations on those tariffs.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think you'll see
they just
those.
took them.
Obviously, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
you'll see those. But like, the ones on the allies, I think, that's tough, right? And even if they do, I doubt, that it like lasts, a longer period of time. Like I said, I think it's more or less just kind of like forcing these countries to do something, you know, like take some
yeah.
action,
I
right? And
mean,
then I think Trump thinks that
Interesting.
think that that's a win.
Well, that's
yeah,
kind of what
yeah.
happened with Germany, apparently.
What happened to Germany?
Well, apparently, okay, so I'm pulling it up right now, I think. Is it? Yeah, it is. Yeah, so they approved like new budgets
Oh,
for
this right,
basically
right.
like defense. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like what was it? It was like 500 billion or something like that. Yeah, it was like a very large amount, if I'm recalling correctly.
I mean, to Kirk's point, right? Maybe that's like I mean, I think like if it goes like between like US and Europe, like one of the things that's always like mentioned there in that relationship is like, oh yeah, US got to bail out Europe every time. And Trump is like, you know, Trump is really the type who's like, yeah, no, you know, uh, you need to hold up like your end of the bargain.
It's expensive. Yeah, it's expensive to be the world police. So, I mean, that's a pretty good deal.
Fucked up.
Like when you just have one, like if you think about it, and where there's no like economic block, or not economic blocks, but there's no like EU, ASEAN, like these kind of things don't exist, and every country has to like be aware of their neighbors. That's like a massive portion of the amount of money in the world that's going to be like siphoned out of more like productive things and into military spending. So it's like a good move for them to just like drag that out for as long as possible and try to not like spend on military. Like no one likes it, right? Like everyone would rather like yeah spend money on whatever healthcare, whatever, building houses or whatever. So yeah, I guess those days are coming to a close, and they got to print money to do it. So
Yes, they do. The never-ending money printer. I mean, I guess like too, like on the macro, the holistic view of the macro. I think like maybe even though the FOMC was kind of like a nothing burger, semi dovish, whatever you want to call it, I think does give some certainty to the markets. We talked about that last week, where like
yeah,
if there's a certain environment and you can maybe what the stance is. Obviously, it wasn't negative, and so like I think you'll probably see in the next short period of time, probably a resurgence in the markets, and
yeah,
then too
saw a
like
nice bump
potential,
right
yeah, yeah,
after. So
potential
yep.
potential ceasefire in Ukraine, right? That maybe is getting closer, maybe not. Um, things like that. I think will stabilize the markets and allow us to kind of move up.
Yeah, I mean, I think to be honest, I don't really think. Mm, yeah, I'm not a believer that like global conflicts are like moving the markets right now. I don't know. I think those like it's right. So the Ukraine thing, that's been, whew, yeah,
Ongoing.
almost 3 years.
Well,
No, like it's like two.
well,
Wait,
to the
is it been
counter
three
though,
years?
when that yeah, something like that. But hey, listen, when it initially broke out, we saw blood in the markets like right after.
Yeah,
I think it
yeah,
was
yeah,
Jan.
exactly. But they've had 3 years, so like to digest it and be like, oh, okay, let's see. So I mean, yeah, I think if there's like a ceasefire tomorrow, Mm,
Hmm.
I, I, I'm not optimistic that that rally will last extremely
Yeah.
long. Same thing with Israel, Palestine, whatever. Yeah, but
So do you
I
think we
think
still see the same chop that we've been seeing? You think we're still going to see that play out in the next,
mm,
I don't know, next month or two?
I would say yeah. I mostly think so because it takes a while to gauge the effects of those kind of changes to the policy. So yeah, like even if he goes so okay. Well, first of all, Trump's like teasing April 2nd is like, oh, like, I'm gonna have some big tariffs. So he's like drumming up hype for his tariffs. So that's kind of and he's actually framing it as like this is going to go to America. Like this is helping you. Like this is how I'm gonna slash your taxes. So you have 0% taxes. It's with this tariff on April 2nd, right? He's like hyping it up. It's pretty interesting. But then, yeah, even if you have like no tariff announcements for a long time, like I don't know, he could randomly get strict on immigration, right? So yeah, I think there was like a couple of headlines recently. I mean, I don't think too much of it. Just like yeah, just like random like a high profile like deportation cases. When at first after like the first week, there's like no deportations. It was very low. So I think everyone thought like it's not a high priority at all. Like he just kind of gave up on immigration. But if he actually doesn't, and if he, even wants to reach like 20% of his goal, which was, yeah, I think the goal is like 10, it's over 10 million like illegals. So yeah, there's obviously certain sectors that are very sensitive to that. Like if momentum starts building in that area, construction, seasonal, agriculture jobs. So like, there's a lot of random things that Trump could say, or like randomly, yeah, sort of directions he could move in that can affect the markets, right? So it's like a complete flip from Biden, where he didn't do anything, and then now like on any given day, Trump is actually capable of like saying anything. It could be anything from like an NFT to like a war. Like you actually have no clue. So it's like a
He's on the
complete yeah
full spectrum there, man. He's
yeah.
got the
So
full spectrum.
I think I think the markets need a little longer. Like yeah, just not announcing tariffs for a week isn't going to cut it, right? That's not doing it.
Yeah, it definitely helps the volatility in the markets. I think with you have a
Yes,
volatile president, right? You got a volatile president, you have a volatile market. So
100%. And I mean, at least it's entertaining, right?
It is entertaining. Yeah,
Um,
it is.
at least
yeah.
at least when Biden was in office, I knew we were going down. I knew we were fucked. You know what I mean? Now I don't know what we are.
It is. Yeah, but now you got to deal with like that Solana ad. So you got
Oh
stuff like
shit! Yeah,
that.
yeah,
So
yep.
Oh shit.
that's the flip side of
That,
it.
that's not even in our notes. Should we? Should...
No, no. Oh, good. I don't want to see that on the screen. Yeah.
Fuck. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um.
Don't tease my loser of the week here.
Okay.
Oh.
That's a good
Okay.
one.
Okay. Okay.
That's a good
Okay.
one. I didn't think
To
of
be
that.
continued
All
then.
right.
To be continued then. We had other entertaining stuff going on as well. I think the massive BTC short on Hyperliquid and ensuing quote unquote whale hunt. Um, Kirk, you posted about this. You were definitely entertained. It seems. Um,
Yeah.
what was going
Well, I
on?
just think it's well, I just think it's fun to watch. Like obviously, people were making a big deal about the Bitcoin whale and Hyperliquid. Massively short, I think Bitcoin and ETH at one point, and then it's just great to see. Like it's just again, it's like movies or something like that. You see a group of like basically bullish whales coming together. I think Justin Sun was getting involved at one point. And coming together to essentially like liquidate this guy or this entity, whoever they are. So I thought it was very interesting, but then it made me think like obviously. I think we saw like what he did, and profited off of, right? Like hedging on a sex, his position,
Right.
um, which is definitely interesting, right? Like I think we know that that's what the play is, but it just always fascinates me, like the transparency of the blockchain. You know what I mean? And how, like, I don't know, like you're putting that out there. You're putting that on the ledger. You're kind of putting your cards on the table a little bit. And it's just interesting. You know what I mean? Like the risks associated with like trading in size on chain. Is shit like this can happen. Right or wrong. So it definitely makes for an entertaining environment.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely don't know the person's basis, like for any of these on-chain positions. Yeah, you have no clue like what they're doing. Even just like from another wallet, right? You know, if they're just hedged on Hyperliquid from another wallet. So yeah, it's definitely yeah. Well, that's even like going back to Poly Market. Yeah, I remember thinking about stuff like that, like those big Poly Market positions. Like, oh, is this guy like somehow like yeah, he could be hedged. Yeah, in some way, just yeah, like short BTC on chain or something like I don't or on sex. Yeah, just something to think about. Like you don't like it is transparent, obviously, but yeah, you only know his one wallet that he lets you see.
Yeah. Well, it just makes me think about, like, taking it a step further. Like if Nancy Pelosi ever figures out how to trade on the
Oh,
blockchain, watch out, man. Think about
I mean
hunting,
that would
Nancy
be
Pelosi's
yeah.
wallet.
She would lose her edge because I think the stock disclosures for like senators and stuff is like there's a lag, right? Like it's not instant. So I think she'd lose her edge. Like if you could just see on chain like a minute after she takes a position, like she'd lose all her edge.
Yeah, very
Yeah,
true. Very
or
true.
yeah, I don't know. She might like change her policy making.
Interesting to see. Like, yeah, let's watch the government force all of the trading on chain. Like, senators, everybody, you guys can trade these stocks, but you have to do it on the blockchain. That would be an interesting wrench to throw
Oh,
in everything.
spicy. Hey,
But
but
yeah,
what?
as always, I think again, an underlying winner of this whole, hyperliquid whale situation, right, is hyperliquid. This is
Yeah,
this is
Obviously.
well,
fantastic,
they weren't last
fantastic
week,
marketing,
or
fantastic
HLP
marketing for hyperliquid.
deposits weren't. But yeah, now it's like yeah, it wasn't like a really a big deal. The HLP thing, yeah, it is a good ad for Hyperliquid. I think they leaned into it. Yeah, I saw like a post like oh,
They
like
did. They did.
transparency, like yeah, yeah, exactly. Because I don't think like you normally see tweets like that from Hyperliquid. Like they're not like a marketing heavy kind
Yeah,
of you know what I mean? They're like a very quiet, like heads
yep,
down ship kind of team. So yeah, that was interesting.
yeah, and I think too, like, the again, it just gets deeper and deeper, right? With this whale, like I think Zag XBT came out today and was doing an investigation into the wallet. Turns out the guy or the whoever it is a scammer. It's like
Oh,
funded by like
yeah, I didn't know that actually. I'm curious.
yeah, it was funded by like some drainer links that had been posted online over the course of the last few years and months and stuff like that, and ended up
Wow,
funding one of the
that's
wallets.
he's in
Yeah.
it. Well, he's in the long game. Wow, so he's training. Oh, wow, that's very interesting.
Mhm.
Um, okay, that's interesting. Oh, he's actually been to jail, so it is abundantly clear. Okay, that's very interesting. Yeah, I mean, like that's the other thing about on chain. Like when you see these massive positions, um, yeah, because like what is the edge for taking those big positions on chain versus on sex? Like maybe you have to. I don't know. Maybe like you just can't like access. Maybe you're not allowed to access sexes, and maybe you just don't want to. Um, yeah,
Just a gambling addict.
Yeah. Or maybe trying to, I don't know, launder some of that money through the
yeah,
blockchain potentially.
Mm.
So, I mean, again, too, I mean, in my opinion, obviously money laundering is wrong. I'm not saying it's right, but I'm just saying that like you can't it's hard to like have both, right? You can't have this like decentralized like permissionless blockchain, right? And then the other side of it is the shit that comes with it, right? And this is
Yeah,
like one
you
one of
know,
them.
I remember in the bear market in 2022, they had like OFAC was like adding like crypto addresses to their sanctions list, and they arrested the developer of Tornado, like of the mixer surveys, and everyone thought like, oh, there's no way to launder money, like there's no point in exploits. You can't. Well, actually, it turns out you can. Like it's pretty. Turns out it's actually pretty easy. Yeah, I guess that was like a pretty easy problem to solve. Yeah, like a couple. Yeah, but in like 2022, there was a lot of like stuff preventing. Yeah, Tornado Cash. You had that, and yeah, I think people were too bearish on like the viability of money laundering on chain. Yeah, like people thought the money would be stranded or something. Like, oh, you can't. It's worthless. Um, I guess it's not worthless. I mean, like, what is North Korea buying? Yeah, but like what is North Korea buying? Right? Like, who are their vendors that are accepting stables or like accepting, you know, I think they have like AVAX, like BNB. Oh, I went to OKX. Okay, it's yeah. So like, who's like what Indonesian dude like are they using on OKX like to get their money through? Like,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they've got some sophisticated
yeah,
measures over there for sure with North Korea. Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's like if there's any way to do it, like somebody will do it, and they will figure out a way to do it, right? So no matter what OFAC does or anybody else does, like they're gonna figure out a way to do it, right? Like I don't think there's a way to shut it down completely. Um, but yeah, I mean, actually, shout out to the Tornado devs, man. I hope. I think their court case is still ongoing. Obviously hoping for a positive outcome for those guys.
wasn't he
Didn't
put
he
on
get
bail or am I?
something like that? Yeah, I was thinking that too. But
I
maybe it
think
was
one of them.
another. Wait,
See if I can find it.
yeah, same. Yeah, back in February. Yeah, the Dutch court suspended his detention.
Because yeah, he wasn't even like in prison. He was he was just like uh in jail or yeah, I guess they call it detention like before being charged. Okay, it's interesting. Yeah, and they released Pavel, or I didn't know that he was still in France, but yeah, apparently he can leave France now. So he's been that was months ago.
Tele-
That was over the
Telecom file.
summer. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He got like picked up in France, and that was a long time ago. So apparently he's been there this entire time.
That's funny, right? Like when they get arrested and stuff like that, it's like big news, and like, but like when they get released, like nobody, like everybody is forgotten by that time. It
Yeah, I mean,
seems.
because it takes so long to release them. It's like, well, yeah, it's like who would have thought that they would still be there, like without actually, being like 'cause they're not in prison; they're just in like their detention center or jail, whatever they call it, like their temporary holding. Um,
Oh, and then the Silk Road founder got
yeah, yeah,
released as
he's
well,
out.
right? By Trump. Yeah, that's the one I was thinking
Oh
about.
yeah,
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 yeah, Ross. Yeah, Ross, right? Um,
yeah, yeah,
which
exactly.
honestly good, but honestly good for that guy, dude. Like I hate like you see some of these things, and even the Tornado Cash guy, like if anything had happened really to the Ton founder, and they get like in prison uh for some of this stuff, and like lose significant portions of their life over it.
Yeah,
It's insane to me, right? And then you have like you know drug dealers, people that are actually like doing like hard crimes. I would say like you've got them going away for limited amounts of time, right? In a lot of places. So it's crazy to me, kind of like the paradox there. Now that said, obviously people like SBF deserve, to go to jail. People like that, deserve to do some time.
Yeah, no, not even just jail. Like you can't even let him like talk to people. He's scheming from jail. Like he did interviews and like he had to be they had to put him in solitary confinement because he's like they thought that he's plotting through these interviews. Like he's manipulating people to try to get a pardon. Or something else yeah, that's actually crazy.
He's
So
communicating through
yeah,
Morse code. Like he's not blinking as often or as frequent as he was, when he was on like the Adderall or whatever. But like, maybe there's some code being passed around. I don't know.
Man, you got to give it to him. Like he's a player, schemer,
he is
top
relentless. Like
schemer.
yeah, I think you gotta watch out. Like when he comes out, um, like what is he gonna do? Like I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up like I don't know, like in government or like just like in some position that he probably shouldn't be in.
Yeah. Well, one thing you can bet on, especially in this market, is like people like I don't know for what reason, but like people will just forget, right? And then these guys will still find a way to obviously make money, and be involved in the system. I mean, just look at the Three Arrows guys, um, the shit that went down there, right? And then all of a sudden, now they're back to trading again. They were involved in like an exchange again, over someplace. Like it's just if you can bet on one thing, you can bet on someone somewhere forgetting like everything that people have done and just like trying to make a buck off of like their name, right? And kind of like the infamy that comes along with being associated with these people. It's insane.
Yeah, maybe. I do think there are levels though. Like I like SBF. Like I don't think he's not coming back from that one. But hey, who knows? Like
Yeah.
we'll see, right?
Yep.
Um, all right, moving on a little bit. Staying with Hyperliquid for 1 second. Should we cover like the introduction of staking? Um, what do you want to call it? Tiers, right? So
Mm.
Hyperliquid introduced staking tiers. Um, yeah, basically will be determined by amount of hype staked. Uh, is this an interesting move, or what do we think about this?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think Binance has something similar. I want to say, but again, we
Right.
talked about it earlier with like liquidity sinks, utility for like an L1 token or an L2 token. Um, and I do think overall that Hyperliquid is doing a really good job of like thinking about that, for their token, right? So, maybe they are following kind of like the Binance playbook a little bit here. But I thought it was an interesting take I saw the other day that like basically think about all these trading firms, that are using Hyperliquid, right? And it kind of like forces all of these trading firms that probably have a sizable balance sheet to start, buying and staking hype. So yeah, I do think it has interesting implications over the long term, especially if Hyperliquid, maintains the volumes that we're seeing, in the usage of the product.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good like there's actually a lot of like sophisticated individual traders and like some even some organizations, some institutions using it. So you gotta like they don't have to sell like or maybe a lot less sensitive to sell compared to like if you just distributed your token to like a bunch of retail. So like 100,000 retail versus a mix of like retail, sophisticated traders and then institutions. So yeah, you do stuff like this, reward people to have a lot of hype, and they're all on hype, right? They got the buybacks flowing, they adding some more sinks. Yeah, so this you add this along with like liquid staking and collateral in DeFi, in the hyper EVM. So yeah, you can have a nice little selection of things to do with your hype. besides sell it.
Mhm. All right. Interesting. So you mentioned it's funny, like you mentioned traders, trading funds, institutions. It seems like at least with the topics we got coming up still that kind of everyone's attention is kind of like shifting towards there. Um, let's talk about Aave for a second. Um, let's pull up this one. Yeah. Aave introduces Ryzen. So Stanny introduced their new product, and it's going to be focused on, again, building institutional DeFi products. Um, they unveiled this last week, and it's an initiative geared towards basically bringing institutional investors into DeFi, right? Going to enable RWAs. So again, yeah, what do you think? Is this part of like a wider trend or movement going on in the space right now?
It is, as we'll touch on after this as well. Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, it was always going to be like this. Like, are you going to let the institutions like build their own thing? Um, if they want to, like they have a preference for like building their own chain,
Mhm.
stuff like that. Building things to their preferences. There's compliance. There's like all sorts of stuff, right? It's the off chain elements of a business that make it appealing for them to forego like the permissionless stuff and then settle for like a semi-permissionless, semi-permission kind of thing. So yeah, I think you'll see more of this sort of stuff from the big names in DeFi in a bid to like put themselves in front of these inevitable flows, right? So we're seeing a lot of a lot of interest to say the least. Like we're seeing actual inflows in certain areas. So, but there's a lot of interest to say the least in like all sorts of areas on chain, right? Including DeFi, and then in DeFi, maybe the flows aren't here yet. So yeah, I mean, we'll see how this plays out. Like if it goes to governance, obviously the community did not like the idea of pushing out a second token. I mean, I can understand, like, yeah, I think they're kind of using like the old 2021 like DeFi stuff in 2025, right? Like it's 2025. You don't need to, flood users with the token incentives to get them to deposit. Or, I mean, maybe you do, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if that's the best strategy anymore. So yeah, I think it makes sense that the community didn't really want like a new token. To just keep it Aave. So I mean, you can even see this in um, the recent Radium announcement, like the Radium, the DEX on Solana. They're launching their own version of Pump Fund, but yeah, they made it very clear like the value accrues to Ray. Like that's what we're doing here. We're trying to keep Ray
Mm-hmm.
relevant, right, amidst a changing on chain environment. Position our like you got to go where the puck is going, right? So yeah, I think it's
Yep.
a good move. I mean, maybe the token thing could have been handled better, but no big deal. They just they saw the reaction. You're like, okay, well, then we won't do a token. So okay.
Yeah, for sure. It was almost like they, the art of the deal, right? Like I think, if they could have gotten a token, I think that would have obviously been beneficial for financial reasons for like, Aave Labs, or Avara or, whatever they're called now. Um,
Yeah,
but I think, I understand the overall strategy and I agree with it 100%. Like I do think that, um, protocols, if their product can be positioned for like institutional flow, then it should be. Because I definitely think that's where a lot of the liquidity is going to be coming from in the next 5 years. But um, I'm confused a little bit just because don't they already have ARC? Like, isn't ARC already for this? Right? They have ARC that was supposed to be
yeah,
for this same thing. So I'm kind of confused on like, so now what happens to ARC? Number one, but number two, like, yeah, I don't understand like having to launch
yeah. I
like a new
mean,
separate product.
sometimes a new name can can mean a lot.
Yeah, I was gonna
um,
say that.
but yeah. I mean, it's a decent point. Yeah. So
Yeah. I mean, so like on
you
that
do it a
level, like I
second
get it.
time, like yeah, it has to be good if you're doing it a second time, right? So
Yeah. No, for sure. And like so yeah, I mean I get it. And again too, like maybe there's legal reasons, like as far as like the way that they've structured Horizon, and stuff like that versus how Arc was structured. It might sometimes it's more difficult to like convert things than it is to just like spin up something new. So I mean I get it. Yeah, the token thing totally didn't. I think the Aave DAO obviously is making the right assessment there. Kind of shooting
yeah,
that down.
it's better than Uniswap. What it's
Yeah,
better than the governance at Uniswap. That was pretty interesting. I just saw that proposal. They wanted quite a bit of money to yeah consider turning on that fee switch.
yeah.
So
Well,
I think
you've seen this play out in a lot of other places too. Like I think
yeah,
it's funny. It's funny like these these teams and like these founders that have like built these successful products. Um, and then when they come back for more money from the DAO, like it's just funny to see like the DAO's reaction and like some of the politics kind of play out. Like I think when like the Curve founder and like some of the team that actually develops the platform for Curve. I think it was like last year they came back for more funding as well, and there was controversy over it, and it just kind of comes with the territory, I guess. But back to Abe, like, yeah, I think you hit it spot on, Daniel. Like, they don't need a new token. They don't need to throw token incentives out there. They've already got a killer product. They've already got the Lindy effect. So I think people want to use the product without needing token incentives. So I don't really see a
right.
need for the tokens. Like, you don't need to incentivize institutions with tokens to come on chain. I don't think. I think they see the value prop already. Um, Especially if you can unlock, like lending against some of these RWAs, right? I think that's a huge unlock. There's not really a great reason to bring your RWAs on chain outside of like composability. And so if you can add some additional benefits, for RWAs to come on chain, then I think that those products are going to be the ones that ultimately win. Because right now, like, what's the point of tokenizing your treasuries now or your money market funds now? Like, there's not a whole lot of great reasons. Again, outside of unless you can take a loan against it or you can use it in DeFi somehow. Otherwise, you're just paying a tokenizer. You're actually hurting your yield, by bringing it on chain. So you've got to create these reasons for RWAs to actually come on chain, and then I think you'll start to see them flooding in. But you can't hurt the yield. The yield's got to be like there's got to be a net benefit on like the financial side of things, or else you won't see it happen. You won't even see institutions want to play with like trying to figure it out, from a regulatory perspective, unless it makes them more money. And so I do think that it's a good play, for sure overall from Aave and obviously from Athena, as well, which I think we can
Right.
start talking about if you want to, Stefano, or we can talk about it in a little bit.
It's right here. Um, yeah. So yeah, this is Tina's bit. Converge chain together with Securitize. Also focused on RWAs. Also focused on TradFi, institutional flows, etc., etc. But between this and Ave's bit, let's say real quick, like temp check. Well, what are you more excited about?
I think it's definitely Converge. I mean, I think Horizon's one of the launch partners for Converge, right? So I think what they're trying to do with Converge is definitely a bigger deal. Creating kind of like the rails for these flows to come on chain. Not to mention, regardless of what you think about like USDE or SUSDE, as an asset, I'm much more bullish on seeing kind of like a crypto native, or crypto native companies building this than like, just purely built by, JP Morgan or, some of these TradFi institutions, right? Like, regardless of what you think of that, I'd rather see that than I would want to
Right.
see like, USDC or USDT, as the native asset here. Um, so just my quick take, on it.
Yeah, I
Nice.
mean,
Yeah.
this is like the most it's like the most warranted chain. It's not like a chain randomly launching, like hoping like, oh, maybe in a year we'll get like some big apps or whatever to deploy here. Um, yeah, so they have it lined up before, right? They have Securitize on deck, right? That's BlackRock's partner for their BlackRock Builder Fund for tokenizing treasuries and even other assets. So yeah, I think this is we'll see like what I guess we'll see like how it balances catering like to people like retail and institutions, and like what how they can create an environment that's maybe suitable for both, or maybe they just like don't care and they just want to yeah focus more on institutions. I don't know, we'll see. It's not like just an Athena thing. I think that'll be for a lot of protocols. They'll have to maybe like min max or like choose what they want to optimize for, right? You don't want to optimize like for maybe like providing RWAs for crypto natives, or something on chain, making something that maybe not even crypto natives but just people in general couldn't easily access, like a house, right? Obviously, or do you want to just go full like tokenized treasuries and just get like the big money in? So we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, I thought it was the most interesting part, I think, is just kind of like the use cases it opens up. Like I don't know if you can pull it up or not, Stefano, but I think Athena's got it on their account. But like there's a clip of, I think, the one of the VPs over at like Apollo Global, talking about like the use cases. Yeah, that one right there. And so like, the big thing that it unlocks essentially is these user experiences to kind of vastly improve for trying to bring traditional money on chain. So having like a settlement layer and having like these native assets set up in a way that obviously satisfies regulatory requirements is a huge unlock. But then like how do people actually like access these the blockchain, at the end of the day, right? And she kind of lays out the case where you could just you can kind of set your money on autopilot, for investing in an index of USDE, USTB, if you want to hold some portion in actual like tokenized treasuries or tokenized money markets, you can, right? And then it's all invested, it's all deployed, it's all earning yield up until the point where the actual second where you want to spend it, right? And then you can actually have your money kind of like earning yield the entire time. And then say you want to buy a coffee, or you want to buy dinner or something like that, up until the second that you actually want to pull your funds out of those assets, now that becomes possible, right? And it just kind of
Right.
unlocks like a better user experience, maybe, like, obviously now, then that's not possible in TradFi right now. If you want to pull your money out of T-bills, um, you're going to have to deal with the bank, and you're going to have to deal with the delays. You're not going to be able to spend that money in the moment, right? And this unlocks that, and I think that's a huge bit of this.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So what you just explained, like that's such a simple unlock, but it's so impactful, right? Like being able to, I mean, that's basically what like we have on chain now, right? Like liquid staking tokens, and now you have like another layer. You have liquid restaking tokens. So yeah, you can hold. It's kind of like Solana. Like if you want to hold Solana, you can have this other version where yeah, you're getting paid like a bunch of yield on top of it, and it can be. I mean, I don't want to say easily, but this concept is not like insane. It can obviously be done in just cash. And yeah, so I think it's good to have these kind of primitives like hit the consumer. So yeah, we'll see how that plays out. Like I think it's a good way to get like, I mean, especially yeah, like American banks and stuff. It's kind of like you have Google Pay and Apple Pay now, but I mean, it's just kind of like yeah, it's just not attractive anymore. Like it needs something like you use something like Alipay or WeChat or something like that. It's just like such an upgrade. But yeah, all of a sudden, Google Pay and Apple Pay has like, oh, you're earning like, like an 8% yield or something, or maybe that's a little high, but whatever it is, at any given moment, like, okay, that's a lot better. So, yep.
Do you guys think like average consumers, right, are like fiscally or financially aware enough to care about that type of stuff, or like
I mean,
is it maybe like this whole convergence stuff and that the way it works is like they couldn't care less, but if you just give them the headline,
yeah.
hey,
I
get
mean, ideally,
8%.
it doesn't matter, like, because it's such a simple, yeah, like get 8% on your money, like who, or you don't even have
Right.
to use percent, like explain it in percent terms. You could just like have it in their bank balance, and it just shows you
Yield
like
until you
you'll
spend.
earn this like every year, like just based on
Yeah.
what their balance is. So I mean, it can be really dumbed down. It's just such a
Yeah.
simple like who like that. If it was like like basis points, like something very small, I could get it. But yeah, like 5%, like that's adding up. So yeah, even
Yeah.
people that don't like care about any of that stuff, um, yeah, I think they'll get it. And then
I think they'll abstract it
eventually it
away.
becomes like a bare minimum, right? Like every fintech needs to have this, right?
Yeah.
So
No, exactly. I think that's a great point. Like, and not even like, I think everybody thinks about like, oh, hey, like how, grandma, how does grandma, access crypto and earn the 8%, which is true. Like you do want to worry about that, but I think before you even worry about that, it's selling the fintechs, the banks, the wealth managers, the family offices, like easy ways to access these yields, right? And it's abstracting it away for those people, because a lot of those people managing that money, a lot of them are boomers, right? A lot of them
Good
are
point.
the ones that can't really understand crypto, right? Or they're hiring people that do understand it, but there's a learning gap. There's a learning hurdle you've got to get over there. And so, like, I think it's unlocking. This is more for those types of people, and then those people will worry about how do we abstract this away for our users, right? So, like your savings account. Will be that instrument. Your certificate of deposit will be that instrument, right? And maybe they actually pass along some of this yield that they're earning to their users finally, instead of keeping it all for themselves, which
Some
is another topic. Yeah, yeah,
some of
some, right? Well, yeah, I mean they've
it.
got to make money, right?
We all
They've
got to
got to
make
pay
a
all their
living.
some, I mean,
but
it's going to be a race to the bottom, like for those margins as more people do this. Like in stable coins, you're already seeing it, like tokenized treasuries, right? Like um, they're not making that much, right? Like in revenue. Yeah, even not in tokenized treasuries only, but even in just like basic stable coins, like you have Agora, like their whole thing is just like, oh, I'm gonna pass on like all the yield to the user. So like, yeah, at a certain point, like that becomes the like kind of like a moat or a way to differentiate yourself. Which is yeah, taking it so that cut becomes smaller and smaller until yeah, it's all the same no matter which app you use, and it's like very small, and the user gets all like almost all of the yield.
All right. We'll see how all of this plays out. Switching gears a little bit, let's talk about the Morpho and Compound. Um, let me pull it up. Kirk, you want us to talk about this one? TLDR,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. So I think this goes back, a while, right? Like, so, like, obviously,
Yeah.
I think Morpho, along with Polygon, tried to pass a proposal that would have, I think, rehypothecated some of the Polygon, bridge stable coins into Morpho markets. Um, Huge controversy, right? Like, didn't end up happening. And then, but what as a collateral result of that, Abe basically said, we're leaving. We're not going to be on Polygon anymore. Um, Obviously, a huge hit to the Polygon's economics, or DeFi, on Polygon.
Yeah.
So I think like one of the most interesting things about this Morpho compound gauntlet collaboration and Polygon collaboration is like from a strategic standpoint, I think this is a good move for Polygon. Like they had to do something. Um, so like it's good from that perspective. But like from like the token perspective, like they're spending I think $1.5 million in POL incentives on this. Compound spending $1.5 million of comp incentives on this as well. But essentially, what's happening is like deposits through Compound, through this Compound instance. Essentially, it's curated by Gauntlet, and Gauntlet is deploying those assets into Morpho markets on Polygon. Um,
Yeah,
so
yeah. This infamous tweet. Yep.
yeah. So from that perspective, it makes sense. I think like what critics are pointing out, and obviously the biggest critic is going to be Mark Zeller, from Aave, who's kind of not afraid to voice his opinion. Which let me just say this: I actually respect when like competitors like
Yeah, that's
don't act like they're friends. I actually respect that. I like that.
it's kind of funny.
But obviously, Aave and Gauntlet have a long history. Relationships are not good, between those two entities.
Yeah, I mean,
And
maybe the other approach would be like, don't like let your enemy keep making mistakes. Like, you know what I mean? Let him keep spending
let them do
200K
it.
on
Let them do
incentives
it.
and get nothing in return. Like, maybe that's actually
Yeah.
not a bad thing. I mean, I think Compound, like, they're just getting farmed out basically. Like, yeah, they're being milked like for everything that they have. Yeah, they've been around a long time. Like, yeah, it's a like one of the oldest, yeah, like a top, definitely one of the first 10 DeFi protocols. Um, yeah, I'm pretty sure of that. So they've been around a long time. Haven't been like, yeah, they haven't been as quick to the punch, I guess, like adapting to things, adapting to trends. Um, and yeah, so I guess this is just what happens.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, it is like, let's just call it how it is, right? Like, number one, I wouldn't want to be a compound holder, unfortunately.
No,
Um,
no, you wouldn't.
but I mean, at this point, like when do they concede and just admit that they lost, right? Like it happens in markets, like, you know, um, the founder's not even involved anymore. I think Leshner's moved on
Yeah,
like a
yeah,
long time
he
ago.
left. Yeah, I think
Like,
he has a fund now. I think.
yeah, like Aave is dominating, right? They've kind of won that, and I just feel like it's unfortunate, right? Like at one point, do you like spin it down? You pay token holders out, like whatever you have in the treasury, you figure out a way to like return as much value as you
RFV.
can. But I mean, at this point, like, and I get it from the people that are actually running the DAO. They want to do something to remain relevant. Like this was on that level, it's a good strategic move. But the unfortunate part is you have to spend all of this money and incentives to try to get people to use it. Um, I mean, I'm just thinking like why Polygon? Like nothing is really happening on
Yeah.
Polygon. Like would your money have been better spent like
Oh, yeah.
on like
This
Linnea or like I don't know like why.
this whole story made me feel like I was, yeah, like I'm living in like 2021 or something. Like this whole story just, it doesn't feel like I'm in 2025 right now. Like, yeah, Aave, Compound, Polygon, like, all right, yeah, I guess Morpho's kind of like stealing the show. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing about these DAO, like the DAOs. Yeah, in crypto, you can get liquid very fast. Don't have to wait for the SEC to approve you, whatever. Just launch a token, boom. But then on the other end, like when things aren't going so well, right, like in a normal company or whatever, yeah, like if you have like consecutive years of like underperformance like that, right, you'd be like, all right, let's weigh our options. But yeah, when you have the DAO, it's like very self-preserving, and yeah, it just takes longer to maybe wind down than it otherwise would have. if there wasn't like a liquid token and a DAO in place. So
I mean, usually I think these types of situations they just run on until like bleeds to
yeah,
death, unfortunately.
yeah. I mean, the tokens, like, it's not like, what are you going to do? Like, you can't delete. You're gonna like delete the token. Like, it's going to be there. I don't. As long as the token's there, yeah, the DAO has like some amount of power. Um, so yeah, it just sticks around.
Is this a loser of the week, guys?
Loser of the year.
Yeah. Yeah, oh,
Oh,
shit.
damn.
Shots fired. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I was debating on who would be the loser of the week for me, whether it would be Solana, obviously, and the brand fallout from the video. Obviously, I think they're a candidate, but I do have to go with Compound, to be honest with you, just because and it's more or less like Compound holders, like the Compound token, like we talked about, just continues to get milked. The DAO's not earning like any revenue, off of the integration, versus the amount of incentives that they're throwing at it. So I have to say that the Compound token holder is probably the loser of the week, unfortunately.
Fair selection. Um, Daniel, yours before we move on to winners.
Oh, okay. So for my loser, I mean, it might be a little surprising, but I'm actually going to say ETH. I mean, it didn't do bad at all this week. Yeah, I think it was actually outperforming a little bit, but I just remembered that, yeah, that for a brief moment, like XRP flipped ETH in FTV. Like, to me, that's just like unforgivable. Like that's actually kind of crazy. So yeah, that's like, I think that's a loser. Like, yeah, that's I just couldn't ignore that. So yeah, ETH is my loser of the week. No one's picked ETH so far, right? Like everyone, criticizes ETH, but actually no one picked ETH for their loser of the week yet. So yeah, I'll refrain from using it like over and over again. But
It's kind of messed up, actually. It's kind of messed up just because, like, you think about, like, even like just talk about the Solana video for a minute. Like, despite that, I think Solana's up on the week, number one. But like Ethereum, for whatever reason, I've never seen like a blue chip asset get captured so much by like crypto Twitter sentiment than like ETH has over the last like year. It's kind of that's the most disappointing part to me, is that, like, from a fundamental level, like, it has the best fundamentals. It's got the most TBL. It's got the most stablecoin TBL by far. Like on that level, it's just crushing it still. Um, but I've never seen like an asset just get taken over by like just bullshit sentiment. To be honest with you, I don't know. I don't know. It's yeah. The crypto markets, you can never understand them. I will never be able to understand them. I'll just say that. So. Um, Disregard everything I've said in this episode, because obviously I don't know what the fuck is going on, because I can't figure it out, for ETH. But yeah, we're trying.
Which I mean, a lot of time I find that like it's funny sometimes when there's like a prevailing narrative. Like no matter what event happens, it gets kind of like interpreted through that lens. So like no matter what happens, oh, that's another L. It gets explained as another L. Whereas like when you're winning, like if you do something that's sort of like out of line, people will say like, "Oh man, they're winning so hard they don't even give a fuck." Like that's bullish, you know.
yeah,
So I think
that's funny.
Ethereum is kind of like in like stuck in like a losing rut, if you will, which is very
Yeah,
unfortunate. Let's see if
but
they
I
can.
mean, it's not like, oh yeah, like they just keep losing. Like, they gave it their like there's several fixable things that definitely um could have been avoided. Yeah, like I mean, yeah, just like, I guess Vitalik's like entire personality, I guess, or like, yeah, you try to like change it a little bit, like, but yeah. So there's that, like, all the yeah, all the Ethereum like foundation stuff, the roadmap for the end of the decade. Like, so there's some fixable, definitely like some fixable things that could have been done to help. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it's like only sentiment. I mean, I think it's like bearish. It's sentiment is actually affecting the price. It just means like there's not much like volume. Yeah, most like especially for majors, right? Like the market cap's so big, like it's gone beyond like what can be affected by, I guess, like yeah, people on Twitter, and stuff like that. It has the ETFs now, but yeah, not like it's not proactively marketed, right? Like it doesn't, like Bitcoin has no marketing team, but it has like an unofficial marketing team. ETH doesn't, like they don't have that like corporate, they don't have people like in the corporate world or in the government like shilling it. You know what I mean? So I mean, Solana might actually, or they had like David Sachs. He sold it. He sold his Solana, but
Solana
Yeah.
probably does. One sec.
a little bit.
I think Kirk got to jump.
Yeah, I got to
That's
jump.
correct, right?
Yep.
Kirk
Right.
got to jump. It's fine. We can wrap it up at our own pace. Kirk, thanks for being here, man. It was fun. Awesome. We didn't get his winner, but
I think, or no, he hint at it. Oh no, he hinted at his loser. Um, that his loser would be Solana, but I think he changed it. He changed it to the thing that we just discussed. Yeah, comp, right? So yeah, my winner is going to be the other side of ETH, is XRP. I mean, it's still up. Like every time you think like, oh, like you would have to short it here, but actually it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't go down. It's continued to rise at a moderate pace this past week, and yeah, I think there's something like, I don't know. It's the only token that you see people on like other social media platforms discuss. Like it's never, and it's like all age groups as well. It's like it could be like 24-year-olds all the way to like 55-year-olds. So I don't know how that happened. It's kind of odd. Um,
it's very detached from crypto Twitter.
yeah, I mean it is. It's good, obviously, because this is a top um, three asset, right? By FDV at this point. So yeah, I mean that's honestly kind of crazy. Uh, I have no clue when like the XRP party is going to end. Like yeah, if you just judge from any fundamentals or like anything like that, it would have ended yeah a while ago. But it doesn't. So yeah, XRP.
Fair, fair. All right. I think that's a good pick. They're doing well. Cool, man. So we had our winners, we had our losers. Man, this was an interesting week. Lots of happen. I think it's especially interesting that so much is happening, like with these like established DeFi players that are really trying to make a strong bid for like what feels like might be like a next how should I say this, like a fundamentally different phase to like this whole industry that we're in, right? We're like kind of like on the cusp of what might be like major institutional adoption, and I mean that will change everything. Yeah, but like potentially, maybe, who knows? But it's edging nearer.
The other side is that like it's always, people always care about institutions like in the bear, like when it's bearish, because there's nothing else to look forward to. But institutions, you can always prolong it, right? Like if the prices go down for a month, you can always say like, oh, they're getting approved, like the institution didn't get approval yet, like they're checking with their boss, like you know what I mean? Like you can always delay,
They're
like make a reason
checking with their
why.
boss.
Yeah, like because that's always like, it's not even just recently. Yeah, even like almost like a decade ago. Yeah, you have people like institutional blockchain, enterprise blockchain, just like for payments and stuff, and like, oh, they're, yeah, like just wait, like they're coming. So yes, you can easily justify like why they haven't entered yet, and like, yeah, made the price go up basically, more than any of the other narratives, right? Like if Trump lost, right? Like there's no like you can't make an excuse like, okay, he lost, like this sucks, right? But the institution stuff, it's like, okay, I can, like just wait a few months, like the Solana ETF's coming, like it'll get approved, right? The new SEC head is going to be, I think they come in April, right? So there's all these like things that are just a few months away, and it keeps going on. So yeah, we'll see. But I think it's real. Like some of it is real. And yeah, so we can look forward to more things to cover, more developments on the institutional and RWA side of things.
For sure. So, and we'll be back next week to do just that. Daniel, thanks for being here. Thanks for chatting. It was fun as always. 100%. To the audience, to listeners, everyone tuning in, thanks for doing so. It's a lot of fun doing this. We hope you enjoyed this as well. Tune in next Thursday. We'll be back same time. It helps if you turn your notifications on. You'll get notified when we go live, and catch the episode on YouTube. Later, guys.